Hey beautiful, welcome back to my channel, The Holistic Boss. This is Coach Renee, your holistic health and wellness strategist. And in today's video, I want to share with you what happened to me over the weekend. It was a double whammy. Yup, double whammy. And I was caught off guard, caught by surprise like a thief in the night. I had gingivitis and sinusitis all at once, right? Both inflammation, sinusitis, inflammation of the nasal cavity, and gingivitis, inflammation of the gums. My gums were red, check. Inflamed, check. Swollen, check. Painful, check, check. Yes, I had inflamed, red, swollen, and painful gums, a painful tooth. It was throbbing to no end. And what did I do about it? Where did it come from? I don't know. It snuck up on me sometimes either late Friday night during my sleep or early Saturday morning, right? I don't know where it came from, but all I was concerned about was getting rid of the throbbing pain, getting my fever down, and the inflammation out of my system. Well, it's obvious that I had pain because my tooth was hurting, and it was obvious that I had a fever because my body temperature was not at its normal state, right? It was above what it normally is. And why do I know, or how do I know that I had a fever? I had chills. I was shivering. So that's when I knew, oh, I got a fever. Next, I knew I had an infection, and it was a bacterial infection. How do I know that? Because my teeth were out of alignment, right? They weren't even. My bite was out of alignment. So I could not, what that meant was I could not bite down and have an even bite. So it was very, very sore on my left side. If you remember, when you go to the dentist, when they finish doing whatever they're doing, they always ask you, how does that bite feel? Does it feel evenly, or is it uneven? Do I need to shave some more off of that tooth? Or, you know what happens when you go to the dentist. So that's why I knew that I was in trouble, right? So I had to come up with my 5 lines of defense, or my 5 tips that I'm going to share with you is what I did to get rid of that pain, to get my fever back down into some type of normalcy, right? And get rid of that inflammation, that infection, that bacterial infection that was trying to escalate through the body, through my body, which is very important that you make sure that you are paying attention to what's going on to your body. And I talk about this all the time in my videos. Understand your body, know where the pain comes from, know where it originated, what happened, where is it, and you also need to know what to do about it when you're out there. Perhaps you might be out there on a hike. You might be out camping with family or friends or your loved one or your significant other, right? Or you might be out at a meal, an evening meal, enjoying your company. And all of a sudden, you bite down on a piece of food and your tooth cracks, or you lose that crown. Or in my case, I was asleep and I was awakened by this throbbing pain on the left side of my jaw, and my tooth was out of control, hurting. My gums were inflamed, impacted. In fact, I probably had a tooth abscess, and I know I did. For a fact, my jaw was swollen. So I had to go to my home remedies, what I had at home. And that's why it's always so important to have your remedies, your home remedies at home for emergencies. We never know when an emergency will happen when it comes to our health and our well-being. So here's what I did. I'm going to share my 5 tips with you. This is what I did, Coach Renee did. Right? This is what worked for me. And this happened this past weekend. right? So we are Thursday, almost at another weekend. This happened this past weekend. So I am feeling so much better and looking better according to my face when I looked at it before. But anyway, so let's talk about the 5 tips that help to remove my inflammation from my gums and my sinuses. Yes, our nasal cavity, our sinuses is connected, to our teeth. So all of this stuff is going on up here. Why do I know that I had a sinus infection in conjunction with this tooth infection, this gum infection? Because once I tackled the tooth infection, the gum infection, then my sinuses start to loosen up and drip. And that's when I said, oh, okay, I had a sinus infection as well. Wow, inflammation can hit any part of our body, whether it's our bones, our tooth, our gums, our eyes, any part of our body, inflammation can take place, right? That's why it's important that we understand. All right, so let's get to it. Let's get into it. Let's get into these tips. Right. So number 1, my first line of defense was to get rid of the pain, because I couldn't focus on anything if I didn't get rid of that pain. If that pain continued, I could no longer focus and function. So I had to get rid of that pain. So I went to my natural remedy for pain, and I used a homeopathic medicine called Ollois. And you can look that up, but I'm not being sponsored by anything that I'm sharing with you. This is not a sponsored video. So I will advise you to go look that up so you can understand what it is. This is what I'm sharing, what I used this past weekend to heal, get rid of, remove the inflammation that was trying to take over my body. All right. It was a homeopathic. They're like pellets, little pellets, right? Pellets that you put under the tongue, and you allow them to dissolve inside of your mouth, right? And it helps cut the fever, and it helps also with inflammation. So look it up for yourself and see all the benefits, the health and wellness benefits that it has for it. That was tip number 1, what I did. All right, next, tip number 2. Is I had to bring my body's temperature back down to its normal state, which meant that I needed to get rid of my fever. So this same homeopathic medicine that I used for myself, Ollois, helped also relieve part of that inflammation, right? So in fact, I can even feel it, I believe, one night when I was lying in bed and I felt something pop. Is that amazing? Our bodies are simply amazing how they function if we treat it properly, right? So that was also, I used that also. Now, number 3, to get rid of the infection, I had to use an antibiotic. And more often than once, we've all been to the doctor with some type of viral infection, some kind of bacterial infection. When we get bacteria poison from food poisoning, right? We get some type of bacteria going on in our body, and so we have to take an antibiotic. Antibiotic is to fight against the bacteria. That's what we need to do. We need to remove the bacteria that has found its way into our system so it doesn't escalate to another problem. All right? So that was tip number 3. Get rid of the infection. Number 4 was to stay hydrated. I needed to stay hydrated because I didn't want to eat. I didn't feel like eating. I was too afraid to eat because I was going to mess up something else, right? When we get inflammation, gingivitis in our mouth, under our gums, it's debris and food, those little particles that go up, slip up underneath our gums, causing infections or a bacteria if we don't care for it properly or we don't combat it properly, get it removed properly. And it's not to say that I was not taking care of my teeth or my mouth, right? Inflammation and bacteria happens all kind of ways. I take a lot of walks And I remember walking down the street and it was very windy outside. I didn't have on a hat, a cap. I was just feeling really good. The sun was shining. It was bright and I felt good, right? So perhaps that wind blew something into my nostrils or my nasal area or in my ears, and somehow it started, just going out of control. I don't know, right? But at that time, last weekend, I didn't care. What I was trying to do was get rid of the pain, the fever, and the infection, the bacteria, right? That was all that mattered to me at that time because that was most important. All right, so that was number 3. Tip number 3 is to get rid of the inflammation by taking some sort of antibiotic. And I took a natural antibiotic called oil of oregano. If you don't know what oil of oregano is, I ask you to look it up so you can understand all the benefits behind oil of oregano. It's good for the immune system. It's good for bacteria. And that's what I use. That's what I had in my cabinet. And that's what I pulled out. So you always want to have something in your cupboard, your cabinet, in case of an emergency. And this is what I use for my emergency. All right. So that was tip. And then tip number 4 is to stay hydrated. You always want to stay hydrated to continue to flush out those toxins that is trying to take over your body. If you don't beat it, it's going to beat you, and you don't want it to beat you. So you want to keep your system hydrated. If you get hydrated, or if you get dehydrated, that's another issue that you have to deal with. So you always want to keep your body hydrated with pure water, right? You can use reverse osmosis. You can use, like I said, pure water, filtered water, but you want to make sure that the water is clean and pure because you're not trying to enter more toxins from faucet water unless you have a filter on your faucet. Do not use faucet water from your sink unless it's a filter on it. Okay? All right. That was tip number 4. Tip number 5 is to rest your body. You have to rest your body in order to allow whatever you are using, the natural remedies, to work. If you don't rest, they're not going to work like they should, right? We cannot take these natural remedies and we keep going like we did in the beginning. We have to understand how to rest. And I'm not saying don't do your regular work. If you work for an employer or if you work for yourself, but you have to get the proper rest. Go to bed earlier, right? Get 7 hours of sleep. Some of you might be saying, well, I only sleep 4 hours a night. Okay, well, try to get 5. Try to get 6, but you need to sit down and relax because you need to give your body time to heal properly. Right? So many times we're going, and it's going to catch up with you and it's going to put you down flat on your feet. And that's what we don't want to do. We want to learn how to relax. So that is tip number 5. All right. Those are my 5 remedies, natural remedies that I took, natural tips, remedies that I took this past weekend to get myself back in gear, right? I'm still on now you're probably asking me, how long do you take oil of oregano? Well, oil of oregano is like a natural antibiotic, right? So when you go to the doctor and your doctor tells you to take your antibiotic for 7 to 10 days or take it till it's gone, well, in this case, I'm going to take my oil of oregano for 7 to 10 days. Sunday will be 7 days, and I will see how I feel on that 7th day. If I feel like I still need to take it for another few days, I will take it up until 10 days, right? It boosts your immune system back up to where it needs to be. It helps you get rid of the infection, the bacteria, whatever was going on in my mouth that's what I am still doing. No more pain. My infection is moving itself out and my fever has gone. My fever was gone actually the 2nd day after taking this oil of oregano, right? And so what am I saying to you? This may work for you and it may not. I don't know. Everybody is different. Am I telling you to get off of your regular antibiotics and to stop what you're doing? Absolutely not. I'm not telling you to do that. You need to continue to follow the instructions of your doctor, whether your doctor is holistic, whether it's a naturopathic doctor, or whether it's your regular doctor. Follow their instructions, especially those of you who are on medication. You always need to follow the instructions of your licensed doctor. If you don't have a doctor, find a doctor that you trust and you can believe in, right? And you want to follow their protocols, what they're telling you. But I am simply sharing with you what I did, what happened to me last weekend, and what I did to heal my body, my tooth abscess, my tooth and gum infection, my gingivitis and my sinusitis, inflammation of the sinus cavity and inflammation of the gum line. That's what that is, okay? So that is what I did. Now, you also want to keep your mouth clean, and hopefully you're doing this on a regular basis. Now, when you keep your mouth clean and your gums clean, does that mean that you're not going to get gingivitis? I don't know. Because our bodies are so unique. It's like a science trying to figure them out sometimes. And so, but what I am saying is you always want to keep your mouth and your gums clean. And that's what the dentists tell us on a regular basis. So how do I do that on a normal basis? What I do is I take a glass of water and I put a drop or two of oil of oregano in it, and I swish with it. I gargle with it. I swish that around my mouth. And I also put a drop on my toothbrush to make sure all the bacteria is continuing to remove itself. And I brush with my regular toothpaste. Okay, that's how so you want to gargle your mouth. And I because it kind of caught me off guard. They say brush twice a day. Well, I brush after every meal. After every meal, because particles, depending on your dental hygiene, you can be that person who gets debris and bacteria under your gums quicker or more often than others. And some people don't get it under there at all. It doesn't matter how often you floss. We hear from the dentist, floss, floss, floss. Well, I always floss, and still bacteria happens to seep up under my gums. So that tells me I need to do something extra on a regular basis, which means that I need to find something else that's working, that will work for me when I gargle or when I use a mouthwash. So I make my own mouthwash, right? I figure what works for me. Because apparently if it's not working for you, whatever I've used in the past is not working, then I'm gonna have to try something new, right? And that's what I have a tendency to do. Since I'm in that holistic health and wellness space, I try different modalities to see if it's going to work for me. And if it doesn't work, I move to the next thing. If this toothpaste is not working, that's why sometimes I make my own things. I come up with my own solutions, right? And so what I'm saying to you, if what you have used is not working for you, try something different. You've been using this for the past 5, 10, 15, 20 years. It's not working. Try something different. This is what this channel is all about. I come to you and I share with you my experiences, my real experiences, my knowledge that I've gotten from nutrition school, and the knowledge that I receive when I do my research and all those things, right? So we have to continue to try the things that might work for us, especially if it has not worked for us in the past. Okay? All right. So when you are doing your dental hygiene routine, you always want to use a soft bristled toothbrush. That is very important. Or you can use the electronic toothbrush, right? Which is probably better. And you want to use a toothpaste that's going to be gentle and that's going to maintain you a healthier mouth, right? Then you want to take it a step further. You want to use a tongue scraper. you want to use a tongue scraper to scrape the bacteria off of your tongue, right? So you cannot be too careful. You always want to go the extra mile to use whatever it is that's going to keep that bacteria gone. Remove it and keep it gone, because we get bacteria from different things. We don't know where it comes from sometimes, right? Food poisoning, right? Bacteria from the same toothbrush that you use for 6 or 7 months. You need to change your toothbrush at least every 3 months. Get a clean toothbrush. And when you're using your toothbrush, you always want to make sure that you are cleaning it. Once you finish using it, clean it with something that's antibacterial, right? Something that's food friendly, bacterial. Like you can use like I said, olive oregano. You can use tea tree oil. Look it up. Tea tree oil is another antiseptic, antibacterial. So there's so many things, so many choices. That's why I say, if you don't like this, try this. If you don't like that, try something else. There's always choices. You have a choice, beautiful. The choice is yours. I hope those of you who are listening, you do have a choice to make the choice of what you want to use for your gum health, your gingivitis, your sinusitis. You don't want to get to that point. You don't want to get to the point where I was last weekend. It's no fun. Tooth abscess, a tooth inflamed, gums inflamed, swollen, painful, red. You don't want to get to that point. That's when it's inflammation, right? Out of control. All right, but it sneaks up on you. I wasn't expecting that, right? All right, so that is now what I want to talk to you about is when you are in this inflamed mode, when you have gingivitis, right? Your gums are inflamed. Your tooth is impacted. You have a bacterial infection inside of your mouth, and you're trying to remove that infection. You do not want to eat certain foods. And these foods consist of, especially when you have your bite is lopsided like that, right? You don't have an even bite because this is swollen. You want to refrain from eating seeds, nuts, hard foods, right? Like cookies, crackers, chips, candy. Stay away from that. Caffeinated drinks, stay away. You're trying to heal an impacted tooth that's inflamed, that has a lot of bacteria. Stay away from hard foods. No crackers, no cookies, no candy, right? No nuts, because you're cracking, no crackers. You're cracking, you're gonna make it worse. You wanna eat softer foods like soups, mashed potatoes. You can still do your veggies as long as they're not raw. Don't eat no raw food when you have an impacted tooth. It's gonna hurt, right? So you have to balance out your meals. I know it's hard. Smoothies, you can do your smoothies. Just stay away from acidic fruits. Acidic fruits is not good for when your tooth is hurting, right? Lemon, limes, grapefruit. Acidic foods can make the pain worse, make your situation worse. But you still want to stay healthy. You can drink, like I said, smoothies. Don't use a straw when you have an impacted tooth. A dentist is probably going to tell you the same thing. If you go to the dentist and you just had your tooth extracted, they may tell you not to use a straw when you are drinking your liquids. Drink it straight from the glass, right? Because of the socket of the tooth that's still open, is still sore, is still vulnerable to getting infected. So you don't want to use a straw. So you can have a juice, a natural green juice, right? But stay away from soda, Cokes, and all that acidic drinks. Stay away from that and drink clear water. You can do tea, herbal teas, not too hot, just nice and, calming. But caffeine, probably not a good choice, So that's it for the food. So continue to stay healthy. You know the foods to stay away from. You know how to control your gingivitis, your sinusitis. You may not get sinusitis with your gingivitis, but if you happen to get an inflamed tooth or inflamed gums, these are the remedies that I would like, that I am continuing to share with you at this time, this moment. This is what I'm sharing with you. How to get rid of your pain, how I got rid of my fever, how I got rid of my bacterial infection by using a natural antibiotic. I used a natural medicine for my fever, and I used a natural painkiller for my pain. All right. Once again, this is what I did. You have to know what is going to work for you. I just want to share, like I come on here every time sharing the resources, the tools, the tips, and the resources that I use naturally that's going to heal my body in a manner that makes me feel good. So hopefully you can learn from my tips, you can do your research, and you can also do the same thing. If that's what you choose to do, is heal your body naturally. And that's what this channel is about. How to heal your mind, your body, and your soul naturally through food, through healthy activities, healthy conversations, healthy liquids, and healthy relationships. All right, beautiful? All right, that's it. So listen, if you're new to my channel, I want to say thank you for visiting my channel. I hope this was inspiring to you, what I've shared, because I come on here, I talk about real stories, my stories. If I haven't experienced it, I don't probably talk about it, right? So I hope this video has inspired you to do something different if you have not received the results that you're looking for. And if it has inspired you, please go ahead and share this video. Give it a thumbs up if you like what I share with you today. Share it with your friends, your circle of influence, and all those who might need to hear it. Hit the notification bell so you will know every time I come up with a new video, new content. And since we're talking about inflammation of the gums and of my sinuses, I want to share with you in the link, there is a link to my anti-inflammatory recipe book, recipe guide. The recipes inside that guide is going to help jumpstart your journey towards healthier eating habits, right? How to eat to remove inflammation or to keep it from entering your body. These recipes were designed to help you learn and help you design meals inside of your home, like I do in my home, that's going to help clear out some of the inflammation, right? Sometimes we don't know what these inflammatory foods are. And if you want to know what those inflammatory foods are, go check out my videos that I did on how to remove these 5 anti-inflammatory foods from your daily meals. I've done many videos on inflammation. All right. And so I will link those videos in the description. Please read the description so you can see all the good information that I have inside this channel of mine, The Holistic Boss. All right, beautiful. That's enough for today. So remember to always stay whole, healthy, and happy. Until next time, take care. Bye-bye.